Testing. Testing. I'm frightened and wonder to find myself here. I am frightened and wonder to find myself here rather than there, for there is no reason why I should be here rather than there, now rather than then. Hello, hello, hello.
The band shirt that was selling for like $1,000, that like, because every off-duty model, remember that whole time was wearing this.
Right.
They had no, you know, like, and then I also just like, I've recently noticed all like the Taylor Swift merch, like as it walks by, and it's like, are you wearing that sincerely, or
is it because of the drama?
You know what I mean? Or like what it, you know, so it's really interesting.
Well, I feel like the rise of things being kind of camp and ironic gives you some plausible deniability too, because you can wear it however you want, and then maybe you're being ironic if someone doesn't think it's cool. Maybe if people like, I don't know.
But I'm also interested in that. Like, what does it mean to think something's cool, right?
Yeah.
Because what is that all about anyway?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think with the kind of curation of taste and media consumption, that ultimately for a lot of, like, I know in like early high school, I would on Instagram, anytime someone I thought was cool would write like a book recommendation or something, I would have a list of like books I wanted to read. And it wasn't what I wanted to read. It would be like Kendall Jenner recommend, like it was like cultivated by who I thought was cool that was consuming it. And I think, I don't know, I think you in very interesting ways draw the line between the way your characters are defined by their consumption and also kind of that is actually genuinely shaping them. Like,
I love that, because I guess maybe I'm also hyper aware of that, right? In the sense that I saw the mechanics of media and, you know, different kinds of media early on from all different angles. And and so I'm aware of how that sort of shapes these, also this, especially among like these young women characters, their identities or what they're trying to, you know, like I mean, I can think of tear sheets from magazines that were like the thing I wanted to be when I was, it's different now. Like, it was funny, you said, this shows how old I am. You said like when I had Instagram in high school, I didn't have Instagram in high school. Did you have Instagram in high school?
No.
Sorry, I don't want to sell you out, but I didn't have Instagram in high school.
You had Facebook though.
Yeah,
Facebook
but like, no, but you know, it's just like, I don't know, like, and so like that would have really changed things, I imagine.
yeah, well, I think that makes everything a little more, and I think it's increasingly like now for kids, much more even than when I was in high school, but it makes aesthetics much more niche and much more easy to kind of, it makes it very easy to define your own identity by just kind of cultivating
and then broadcasting in those very, which is also a bit strange, right? Because it's like, you're not like, I always thought about that. This was something that always really bothered me, like back in the day, is that like, it was when they first started doing like party photos. And I would be like, but this person's wearing that because they know their picture's getting taken. That's not what someone 20 years ago would have done. They would have always had this style. And I was very conscious that you could like be one thing and be another thing. Yeah. And like, sort of like manipulate it. And like, that seems so uninteresting to me. What was more interesting is what they were doing on a day when no one would photograph them, right? Or what they were.
Right.
And nowadays it's completely, you can, you know, be very selective of this very selective, you know.
Well, there's also like all off-camera times are on-camera times now.
Right. So it goes both ways. You're right. It can go both ways. But I think only if you're really famous does it go both ways in a way, right? Because someone will still catch you in the off moments. Otherwise, someone's curating it, and as if they were famous, but that's like the funny part, right?
The only people that don't have control over the curation of their image now are celebrities.
Exactly, which is
that's actually
kind of really an interesting way of looking at it, right? Because that's the thing that's been turned on its head.
Right.
And that's why they're all starting accounts now. It always used to be like, right, like if you're A-list or whatever that means, you wouldn't have it, and that was like a badge of honor. But now if you don't have it, someone's going to do it for you, or you need to like set it up just so that people can tag you or whatever you know what I mean? Like,
I think it's funny that there was this trend that happened with celebrities about exposing the non-celebrity side.
Right.
Like when I was younger, there was never really a lot of that. Like maybe we went and saw their houses. But then there became a trend of like, well, what's more interesting is what is Jessica Simpson doing when she's in her pajamas?
But the problem with that, and that happened alongside reality TV, is even that people have to remember is curated.
But
right?
what I was going to say was, then that leads to that came down the social media chute to normal people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now, Facebook, and at the beginning it was like, oh, we're all celebrities now. And then it was, oh, we're all celebrities who need, everyone needs to turn a rock over on us. So now everybody wants to know about everybody else, but what are you doing What do you look like when you're not in the Instagram post? So now like everything you can turn over about a celebrity or somebody is more interesting because of the idea that everybody's curated.
Right, right.
You know what I
And
mean?
it's also like, but then I think about these things like, you know, the actress back in the day, Norma Shearer, you know, she was like cross-eyed. She had all these things that, and she was, every time she would go out, she would dress a certain way, have her makeup done a certain way, and that was the only time she was on record.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know? And it was a completely different
Well, the
thing.
only way to stop it all is to never go off.
Right.
To put on the Andy Warhol wig and just never take it off.
Right.
Never.
Or to like not give a shit, you know? Or like, and like even that then has become like kind of a posture.
Right.
Yeah.
So like that like cancels itself out.
Yeah, well, there's no, as an adult, you know that there are no non-postures.
Right.
Like everything's a thing.
But like,
Yeah.
you know, so it's like a funny dance, right?
Yeah.
How did you get interested in the idea of celebrity? And I mean, I feel like this book, sitting right there, I fear my pin inches you. But it kind of focuses heavily on the idea of celebrity and on the idea of private and public life and disassociation and I don't know, many other themes. But how did you come to those ideas? And is celebrity always been something that's kind of been prevalent?
I mean, I'm interested in it by not being interested in it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's not something that I like revere, but
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I'm curious about the mechanics behind it.
Yeah.
So I think it's always been interesting to me to understand. And I remember being shocked. Like, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, do you remember when like the celebrity profile was like someone going out to eat a hamburger and like it was like, and that was like a point of saying like, oh look, she's so cool, she eats the hamburger. Like nowadays there's that was like the standard. Do you remember that moment?
Proving you're normal.
Yeah, and like she showed up in jeans and she ate a hamburger, and that's like what, you know, like the celebrity profile is completely been blown out of the water now. Do you know what I mean?
Now you're gonna have like maybe a $20,000 hamburger that nobody else has.
Or like, or whatever. But it's just like, I remember that, and I remember being so like mad almost when I was like a teenager, because I was like, this is so stupid. Everybody knows she's not eating the hamburger.
Right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?